Hi, everyone. This is Elaine Kelly, and I'm joining you from the Leesburg Public Library. And I want to welcome everybody to part 2 of our program on free resources for small businesses. Last week, we reviewed the Small Business Association website, www.sba.gov, and we also reviewed the Small Business Development Centers, specifically the one that is closest here to the library, which is down in Orlando. There's lots of good information on those two sites, and I did highlight certain areas that I really thought would be beneficial to those small business owners that are looking to further develop their skills or to build their business. Today, in part 2, we're going to be looking at the free resources that are available to you through our library, as well as I have a rather lengthy list of online resources that I was able to find on a variety of different topics. Also, all designed to be able to give you access to resources that you may not have available to yourselves yet, just because you may be in the process of doing a startup, money might be tight, anything like that, but it just gives you some options to look for some further help for yourself. So with that said, we'll go ahead and we'll begin. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to share my screen. We're going to start off with our PowerPoint just to review some certain points of what we're going to cover today. And then we're actually going to do a lot of hands-on work today. So first thing I'm going to do is share. You should see on your screen my PowerPoint presentation, which I'm going to be getting ready to start here. So today's agenda, we're going to be reviewing A to Z database, which is available here at the Leesburg Public Library. We're also going to be looking at LinkedIn Learning. Again, another database that's available here at the library that will provide a lot of very specific items that you might be interested in for your business. And then we're going to conclude with that list of online resources that I was able to find for you. So first thing I want to do is unpack all the materials that I sent to you this morning. The first is a copy of the handouts of the PowerPoint, so you can jot notes against anything, put questions on to be able to ask me, whatever, but this is your copy of the PowerPoint. The second thing I sent you is a detailed list of instructions that show how to access any of the resources that I discussed today, as well as all of the website links to all of the online resources that we'll talk about at the end of the session. So with that, we're going to begin with the A to Z database. The A to Z database is a very comprehensive database that is designed for businesses and to be able to gather marketing information, to be able to determine the scope of who are your competitors in the local area, how profitable those competitors may or may not be, as well as it can generate mailing lists for you. And all of this information you could pay for. You could pay a consulting company to be able to gather this information for you. But with this, it's all available to you free with a Leesburg Library card. It does contain in the business side of this database over 30 million businesses that are listed out there domestically. It has a universal search technology, which we're actually going to walk through 2 examples in this database so you can see it in action. But the most critical area that I like to kind of point out is that it's updated monthly. So when it goes out, it takes from a lot of different sources, it recombines them, and then that's what is placed in the database. So as long as a company is in business and hasn't closed through multiple sites, then it will automatically appear inside of this database. You have the ability to email your search results to, in this case, patrons of the library, or in the case of yourself, to coworkers for the purpose of generating reports, address labels, marketing brochures, etc. You have the ability to download 1,000 records per search. but you do not have any limit for how many searches that you want to create for yourself. And another point that I want to highlight is that it is triple verified, meaning that because of all the multiple sites that deposit information, there's a lot of cross-checking that is involved, so you only get reputable companies that are inside of here. Where does it source its business information? We're talking about new telephone connects, the Secretary of State filings, National Directory Assistance data, annual reports that are filed, SEC filings, corporate registers, public records, and if you happen to list your business in either a yellow or a white page directory, or even a specialty business directory, that information is uploaded to A to Z for the purpose of sharing to the general public. So with that said, we'll leave here at our page here at LinkedIn, but we're now going to go over and we're going to take a look at how to access the A to Z database and work through 2 examples. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come over here to, I've already got my Chrome started. And I want to show you how to first arrive at the Lake County Library System website and where you would then be able to access this database. So my first area that I want to point out to you is the URL for our Lake County Library System. It's my Lake, spelled out L-A-K-E, library, library.org. Once you execute that URL address here in the search bar, you'll come here to our main page. Along the top of your screen, you're going to see various little tabs here. The one that you want to focus on is the one that says databases. If you just hover your mouse, just like I'm doing right here on databases, you see the full list. Third one down is this A to Z database, and you just want to click on that. Now, if you accidentally click databases rather than just hover your mouse, when that does go to this page, and I will show you, over here on the left-hand side, you will see that same list of databases. You can easily click the A to Z database right here off the left side of your screen. I've already got it opened. So I'm just going to click here up on the tab. Keep in mind that when you do access, especially from home or your work site, you will be prompted to enter in your library card number. So just flip onto the back of your library card. You'll see a large barcode sitting there with a number underneath of it. Input all the numbers, no spaces, no dashes, and then just press login. Here's the search panel for the A to Z database. And as you can see that you may have very specific things that you want to search for here on the top, where you can find a business, you can find a job because it does have a very intense career source section inside of this database, or you can find a specific person. What I want you to review is further down the page, which is called mailing lists, sales leads, emails, advanced searching. We're going to start with the 3 million business and executives. This is 30 million businesses and executives. And this is where we're going to generate some marketing information for you. We want to know who our competitors are that are in our local area. So what you want to do is just press here on the action button that says get started. So again, what we're wanting to know is who are our competitors inside of our area. We might need this information to create a business plan. We may be looking for some strategic advantages in our marketplace. We may be wanting to see what businesses offer various different services, but we want to see what's available first. We're going to leave all records highlighted here. And I'm going to look over here on the left-hand side under geography. There's a lot of different ways that you can specify your information here. If you want something a little bit more around the US, you may consider doing state. What we're going to be doing here in our example is I'm going to be looking specifically at a zip code and just with a certain radius around that zip code. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to click this radius. Like I want something very specific to where we are right here. You can specify any number of miles around that zip code. So I'm just going to randomly just choose a number. I'm just going to pick the number 10. All right. And it's your option as to what you want to fill out, whether it be a specific address. If you have a business that's set up with that address, go ahead and put that there. Or if you're just kind of doing some general scoping of what the situation may be, consider just using a zip code. So I'm going to put our zip code here, 34748. Okay. Now what I want to do here is, again, I'm looking farther down over here on my left-hand side, in which I'm looking at maybe a business type. Now, if you happen to know your type code or your SIC code or the NAICS code, go ahead and put that in, because the more specific you are, you will get businesses that only have this information. So it will weed out a lot of businesses that may list it underneath your category, but aren't specifically what you are trying to go for. I'm just going to keep it very generic. I'm just going to say business type. So again, you see another search little box kind of open up here in the middle. So what I'm going to do is here under the keyword business type, I'm just going to look, we're going to do like a lawn care service, good grass cutters. So I'm going to type in lawn. And here in the box immediately below, you're going to see all different sorts of categories. You're going to want to select all the ones that are similar to what you're going to offer to your customer. Now, in the case of me just cutting the grass, I'm not looking at anything for, retail sales, that sort of thing. I'm just looking to cut people's lawns. So I'm just going to select this one option right here. But you can see that there's a variety of things. You can even do the fertilizing side just by typing in the word lawn. And you see that there's a lot of different options here. Again, select the one that closely matches what you're interested in creating for yourself. Once you select on that one, and you can multiple select in here, you will see those options down below that are selected here. Now, there's some other options here on the left-hand side that, again, you could be very specific with a business name. You could even do employee size. So if you're just looking for someone that's like a mom and pop store that may only have an employee size of, let's say, 5 or less, you can actually put that in. But if you're looking for somebody who is more like 100 people or greater, and you want to compete with them, you can easily, again, you're trying to weed out people, businesses that do not meet this criteria. You can easily put that in. Further down below, you can easily see if you want to do women owned. Again, remember that was a conversation we had last week concerning women owned businesses. This might be advantageous for you if you're looking for specific finance opportunities. You have various other things here. You can even type in a very specific EIN number if you happen to know that. All right, there's other important selects. Again, whether or not you have this sorts of information at hand to be able to plug this in, but just experiment with this to see how well it goes. I'm just going to leave it with these two things. Again, we're doing all records. All right, I want to do a 10-mile radius around the zip code here at the library, 34748, and I want to look specifically for lawn and garden services. So once I've keyed in my selection criteria, I just hit the word search. Okay, it's completing the search right now. And what you have here are, excuse me, 30 results based on what I have keyed in. All right, it's usually organized from, in this particular case, in terms of revenue, going down the most revenue up at the top, going down to the side. It contains 2 pages worth of results, all right, with a total of 30. So if you were creating a business plan and you had to put in who are my competitors within a 10-mile radius of the zip code, this would be who you would be able to list in that regard, how many other businesses are out there. You can review the listing here, see if there's anybody that, excuse me, that you would want to eliminate from the scope of your particular business itself. And this would be how you would use this as marketing information for competitors. Another thing to also keep in mind is that if you were trying to do a sales lead for yourself, if your business was sales, and you're looking to contact professional groups to see if they would be interested in your products, again, this is a way that you would also be able to develop that sales lead because you do have addresses as well as telephone numbers here to be able to contact these specific businesses. If the name of the president or owner is available inside the database, you will see it listed here in this column. I want to point out here up at the top of the page, this download button that you can actually download the list to your computer. So you would be able to open it up both in Word or Excel. You can print the list, as well as here's the email button where you could email it to your business address. You could email it to a coworker to be able to give them that information. But that is how you would go ahead and get marketing information. So I'm going to come back here to the home. So that I just hit the A to Z up here at the top of my screen. And it brought me back to our home starting point for our search. So that was how you would be able to get some marketing and sales leads based on what's around a zip code. Now, say you're a business and you want to try to attract customers. I know that several of you have mailboxes and you may have received at some point in time a little postcard that just advertises a business and their services. And it just has a mailing label stuck on there that's how it got to your address. So how do they get that information? They can get it through this database. Over here, down this page, immediately opposite our 30 million businesses and executives, this right-hand column here says the 240 million residents. Okay, and we're going to go ahead and we're going to say get started. So what we're looking here is we're trying to get a mailing list so we can actually generate all of these labels to be able to send out, okay, these little sales flyers to residents to be able to see if anybody would be interested in our product or service. So this should look a little familiar to you, okay? And over here on the left-hand side, we're starting already with the geography. All right, you can actually do a state, city, metro. But again, we're just going to focus here on the radius around a specific zip code. This may also be good information to have in a business plan of saying how many potential customers are out there in this particular range, radius that you can use to say these are my potential customers that may use my service. Again, I'm just going to randomly choose a number here. I'm just going to choose 10. And I'm going to put my zip code again here of the library, 34748. So I've got my first portion of my search parameters set up here. So I come back over to the left-hand side, scrolling down the page a little bit more. I can look for a very specific name. If I was interested, I can look for a specific phone or area code. But keep in mind that with everybody using cell phones, that the people who actually live here may have area codes from where they lived previously. So that may not get you as much information as you might think. You can look at age, gender, or head of household. Okay. And what you want to consider here is that if you're looking for If they're labeled as the head of household, it would be like from a tax office, something like that. They would have put a tag against a particular person's name, and that's how you would get that piece of information. Under here, under the household information, you can actually look to limit where you want to go. So here I have with my lawn service. We're just going to continue with that same sort of scenario. But say I want to only do certain communities here, and we only want to do like people with a household income over, let's say, 200,000, or let's say even the 200,000 may be the value of the home, but the actual income may be, let's say, 75. Okay, 75,000. The thought process there might be is that these individuals are working, they might be traveling, maybe down to Orlando, maybe up to Ocala, but they may not have time enough to be able to cut their grass themselves. So this might be a good income level to begin with, to be able to send these little flyers to see whether or not they'd be interested in using my lawn care service, because we know that probably they would be contracting that service out. All right, so we could put, let's say, if we do the income, our little thing here comes up. All right, here on the left, here's my search bar here after I've highlighted this. So I can actually look down through here. Let's say we were talking the 75. Okay. Now that just says 75 to basically 100,000. We may want to go up higher, so I can highlight all of these, because we know for a fact that these individuals would probably be looking at having a service come in to be able to do this household chore. All right, so everything that I clicked, and you can see I did multiple clicks this time, I would have that information over here. What I also want to do is we have homeowner or renter, okay? We may have lots that may be generated with our search. So, but we want to know who the homeowner or renter is in this particular case. So I can click on that, and I would eliminate a renter simply because that may be part of the services that are contained inside the rent to start off with. So I'm looking specifically for a homeowner. So my search criteria right now lists that I'm looking in this particular zip code, 34748. I want to see in a 10-mile radius all those households that are 75, that have a income level of 75,000 or greater, and who are homeowners. So if I click search, let's see how many people come out with this. It's thinking, it's thinking, it's thinking. Okay. So first thing I want to point out is that we have 854 pages worth of results for a combined total of 21,328 individuals. Okay. I want to also point out this red statement that comes up here is that there may be some telephone numbers indicated. Please be aware that these might be part of a do not call list, and that you are responsible for any applicable laws regarding telemarketing. You may want to avoid even looking at that phone column here on the far right-hand side of your screen, and just concentrate on the addresses here. So here are the address that you can actually, here's the person's name. And so when you download, again, here's the same action buttons here on the upper right corner, download, print, or email, and that you can generate that, put it into an Excel, maybe do a mail merge, and be able to generate all of your labels that you would then be able to put onto your sales flyer. But as you come down here, you'll see various ones with telephone numbers. Again, watch out because you may get into trouble if you start making telephone calls. But specifically, this is how you would get your mailing list: person's name, the address, the city and state, and their zip code. That is A to Z. Again, it is free using your library card through the Leesburg Public Library. I'm just going to put it back here to the main search page here. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go back to our slideshow, and we're going to review a little bit about LinkedIn Learning and then come back over to this page to talk about LinkedIn Learning. So back here too. All right, so we're on LinkedIn Learning. All right, it is again free with your library card, and I've provided you the very short bit.ly web address so that you don't have to type in a lot of different things if you want to directly enter it. The courses that are available inside of this particular database are available in 7 languages. Now, just keep in mind that the majority of them are English only, but if you do have some individuals that do speak some other languages, you can click on the other language to see how many of the courses are fully available in that language. The more specific that you get, like for instance, Mandarin and Portuguese, there may not be as many out there. English is the primary one that's in. So if you can learn through the English, that's the way I would recommend that you do it. They are adding more courses in these other languages. So eventually at some point, I anticipate these other languages having the full itinerary of classes available to you. There are video courses taught by industry experts. These can be single courses. These can be learning paths, in which is a combination of courses put all together. There are certificates available as well as continuing education credits. But keep in mind that in most of these last 2 with certificates in continuing education, when you have to show proof to an entity, whether it be a supervisor, whether it be a accreditation board, these particular documents usually have to have your name on it. And if you just print the normal certificate taking a course through your library card, it will not list your name. So in those particular cases, you will have to create a personal account so you can actually get credit for that and have that document list your name on it. So just keep that in mind. After we log in, which we're going to go over and do, if you click the browse button on the upper left corner, you're going to see some options there. The first one being business. If you click on that, there's a lot of different categories that are available to you. And these just kind of pull the courses for you together so you don't have to do a lot of searching for them. The last one I have listed here on the possible categories is the small business and entrepreneurship. That might be of the best or greatest interest to you. Specifically under the small business and entrepreneurship, you may have the courses that are how to create a business plan, starting an online business, for example, financial essentials, taxes. We'll take a look at this particular area so you can see all the options available to you. I'll also show you how to very specifically target a course for yourself so you can go right to it. All right, so with that said, I'm going to leave it here on our prompt for our next topic. And I'm going to go back to our website. So I'm going to share my screen one more time. I'm going to come back to my Chrome. I did leave it here on A to Z, not a problem. I'm just going to go up here to the top where I have my tabs. I'm going to come back over to our Lake County site. Again, this is mylakelibrary.org. Under the database tab, about halfway down, you're going to see LinkedIn Learning. If you just hover your mouse there, again, you'll see this list and you could just bring your mouse down and click on LinkedIn Learning. Or if you accidentally just click on databases and you come to this page, LinkedIn Learning again is on the left-hand side, about halfway down your page, and you would just click on LinkedIn Learning. Now, this one does have a different entranceway than the A to Z. The A to Z will automatically pop up with that prompt for your library card number and you hit login. The LinkedIn Learning does something a little bit different, and I want to show you what that looks like. So I'm just going to click on LinkedIn Learning. All right, and you're going to get to this page here, and you're going to want to click the button that says Get Started. Once that does, you'll see the prompt for your library card and PIN number. Now, you may not remember what your PIN number is when you first get your library card. What we defaulted to is the last 4 digits of your telephone. So once you click that in, hit continue, and you get into the program. So what I'm going to do is I've already got a session open up here at the top. So I'm just going to go up here to my tabs and click on LinkedIn Learning. You'll see what my panel is when I log into LinkedIn Learning. Along the top here, you see your search bar where you can look specifically for a skill, subject, or software. You have My Learning page where you can actually save your progress and be able to get back to it. And right now I have it linked. I'm going to move my little screen here for a second. I have it set up for English, but this is how you would be able to choose your language right here by just clicking this downward facing arrow. And you see all the different options that you have available there. If when you want to log off, here's the Me option right here. If you click the downward facing arrow, the sign out button is all the way down here at the end. So what I want to show you here is similar to what we had covered in our PowerPoint presentation. Is here's the browse button. If I click the browse, it defaults under business, but you could be some creative content or you could be technology based. Again, it defaults to business, and here are our different business topics, and you'll recognize these headers as being repeats from our PowerPoint presentation. If you scroll down the page, you see a lot of different things that are covered here, a lot of different categories. And this is the one here, a small business and entrepreneurship, that you can click on. So I'm just going to click here on the title. Just going to think for a second. You have some different categories that you could click on here if you were interested in any of these things here. But regardless, if you scroll down the page, these are all of the courses or learning paths that are set up under the header of small business and entrepreneurship. So for example, this very first one, becoming a small business owner. It is a learning path, and how I can tell that is immediately above the title, I see the word learning path. Learning path, again, is a combination of courses put together that in its totality will accomplish the objective of becoming a small business owner. Here on the image, here to the left of it, you see a little timestamp down here at the bottom. It takes roughly 11 hours to get through all of the materials in this particular learning path. Does that mean that you have to stay on the computer for 11 hours? No, it does not. As you progress through your objectives, it will automatically keep track of your progress, and you can actually bookmark where you stop. And so when you exit, you log off the system, but when you come back in, it will remember where you stopped and be able to put you right back into that session. So even though it says 11 hours, you can actually space that out over the course of a week, 2 weeks, to be able to process all the information as well as still being able to do your day-to-day duties. This next one down here, again, I'm just going to show you the differences between them. This is Entrepreneurship Foundations, and it is a course. How can I tell that? Immediately above the title here, you see the word course. So this is a one-off video. Down here under the image, you'll see the time frame. It takes 1 hour and 13 minutes to go through each of the sessions of it. And it does build a skill for the entrepreneurship. This may be contained inside of a learning path. So if we go up in here, this may be part of those that entrepreneurship foundations may be part of what this learning path is. This is a specific item that may be under that. Okay, just kind of scrolling down to see some of the different options that you have available, just to kind of see if something meets your interest here. A little bit farther down here is starting a business online, and see, this is about 30 minutes long. Very small, very specific, and you would just be able to kind of flip through that. So this is how we would be able to find what's available underneath the small business. There's a lot of options there. You saw that was 407. So how about if we want to do something very specific? So we're actually going to look at a couple things here. So up here on the top, where I have my little search bar, I'm going to click in it. And say I want to have, and this is just kind of throwing out, we're going to start a business plan. We did see a lot of videos and some text available on the Small Business Association website. But if you want to see some additional things, LinkedIn Learning is a great source to be able to give you a little bit more in-depth information about it. So I'm just going to type in business plan and press my enter key. I'm going to go out and think. And this is how, and then it will start to present all of the matching results. This very first one, creating a business plan. It's a course, and it takes about 1 hour and 11 minutes to work our way through. There is another one here that's a 45-minute business plan. You may consider watching that also, just to see what differences that the instructors may be talking to you about in there. We're going to go ahead and we're going to click on this first one. I want to show you what it actually looks like when you access one. So you just have to click on the title. Okay, this is what the panel looks like. I'm just going to hit pause here to stop the video. And what this does is it automatically dumps you into, here on the left-hand side, the very first video that's part of this course. And it's called What is a Business Plan? It automatically does start playing as soon as you access it. So if you need to get yourself settled, just go ahead and press the pause button down in here. When you're ready, press the play again and it will begin again. I want to point out immediately here underneath the video, you'll see the time. It only takes less than a minute to be able to watch this one video as part of this course. If you do need closed captions turned on, you can click the button here. Or if you would like to read the transcript of what the speaker is saying, just press transcript. Down below this, you'll see a little bit about who is the instructor. You'll see some course details. You'll see what the learning objectives are and what skills are going to be covered. There are some exercises available, so you can actually hit that and show all. And there are some certificates. If they do have any loaded here, when you hit show all, it will list those available. But again, with a library card, you will not have your name set against it. So if you want to have your name on it, you're going to want to create a personal account. So say, oh, you want to jump ahead here. And you want to say, you want to know more about the size of the market. You can actually jump and actually click on this, and it will fast forward you to that section. Hit pause again. And it will talk to you person to person as to what this area is, why you need it, and what items that you should be gathering to be able to put inside of this particular section of the business plan. Each one of these areas, they do walk your way through. You can hit replay as many times as you need to kind of get all the information off of it. And right here on the left-hand side, next to the name, you'll see the bookmark. So you can actually press the bookmark, it will save your progress, and you can come back to it. So that's just an example of what you would do here. Now, one of the questions I do get a lot of in a lot of the technology classes that I do teach is that, do we have any QuickBooks programs? We do not here at the library. However, LinkedIn Learning does. So let me go ahead and show you how to get to that. So up here on the top, next to our browse button, we have our search. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to exit off the business. And then I'm going to type in QuickBooks. And as you can see, as I start to type, I'm getting a list down here below. We have general QuickBooks, we have QuickBooks Online, we have QuickBooks Pro, we have QuickBooks Payroll. So there's a lot of different options that you can choose here as to something that, that meets which type of QuickBooks you do have. I'm just going to go ahead and click here QuickBooks Pro just to see what they have. Goes out and it thinks for a second. All right, so here's our QuickBooks Pro, and it also gives the year. So if you happen to have this particular version on your computer, you can actually put people right onto this and they can work their way through the course. All right, again, keep in mind, here is your time frame to be able to get through all the areas of the QuickBooks. Now, if you're looking for a very specific portion of QuickBooks, when you click on this, I'll click the title. Pause as soon as this thing loads. Okay. All right. So here on the left-hand side, if you scroll down the page, you'll be able to see specific topics here. You can actually select the item that your person or people need to have some knowledge on, or to refresh their training. You click right on that, watch that video, and then they would have a little bit to move forward with. But that's QuickBooks Pro. Let me go back. See if I can get it. I just hit my left arrow button to go back to the results. All right. You can see again, the version here. You want to pick the one that you have that matches your system to be able to get to. Now, say you have a person here that was looking for let's say Microsoft Office training, okay? Specifically, let's say Microsoft Word. All right, so if I type in Microsoft, okay, you can start to see my list developing here. Okay, Microsoft, but I want specifically Word. Okay, so you have a lot of different options here. You can look specifically at the 2016 version. Again, look at your system, at your business site. What is the version that you're currently using? Specifically for Mac, if you have an Apple product, you might even have the 365. So if I click on 365, let's just see what's out there. Okay, so here we have essential training. You have learning the desktop. So in case you have a person who's starting basically from scratch. You have formatting, little course here. You have learning Word 2021. You have Word tips and tricks. But you also have the ability to become a Microsoft Office specialist. Okay, in this case, it's the Word expert. This actually can get you some certified preparation for it, so you can take that test and be able to be a little bit better prepared rather than just sitting there and just taking it without any coursework beforehand. So a lot of different options that are available there that should be able to get both you and your employees up to speed. So definitely check out LinkedIn Learning. It is free with your Leesburg library card. So with that said, I'm going to go back to our PowerPoint presentation to discuss the final topic in our program, which is all about online resources. There are a number of resources available on the open internet that are either free or have very low entry costs to be able to start using them. The more features that you want to have with your products, obviously you need to go up to higher levels or be able to obtain a more enterprise related practice product that would be able to do all of the tasks that you're looking for. And that involves some money. When you're talking about with small business, if you're doing a startup, money is very tight because you're trying to establish yourself, you're trying to get product in-house, you're trying to get your name out into the community. A lot of your money is very stretched, very thin, so some of these resources may be a help for you. I've randomly put them into several categories. So I want to just say that these are not necessarily where you would probably organize them, but it's just something I did just to kind of get us all on the same page. All of these website addresses are located inside of the instruction packet that I sent to you, as well as all of the instructions for those examples that I did in the A to Z database, as well as the LinkedIn Learning. All right, so in my listing here of that I sent to you, I do start off with the Small Business Association administration, as well as how to find some local assistance, so you can find those development centers in your area. So you do have the website. I send it to you in a PDF format, so if you do take your mouse and you hover over the website address, that should automatically take you to those sites. All right, here are some of the resources immediately below that I categorized under infrastructure. An endpoint protection, which it's all about VAS, which is like a firewall. But the free home version does not come with the firewall, data shredding, or proactive controls. But the free version would be enough to be able to get yourself started as you try to set up your business. Once you start putting in financials or customer information, you may want to advance up to the next level to give yourself some protection there. A VPN, CyberGhost is very good. It is a paid subscription, but the first 2 months are free. Web design, there's plenty of them out there. WordPress, Wix, Squarespace. For the full functionality, you may have to upgrade, as well as to buy the website address. You would have to be able to put that out there. But to be able to get yourself started, to kind of design, to get yourself something very nice and appealing for customers, these are great places to start with. A website grader, you may never have heard of this, but the one that I found was HubSpot. And what it does is it evaluates the page speed, the page size, security, and responsiveness of your page. So as a person clicks around the page, how fast does that server take to be able to give them back their results from a search? How long does it take them to switch from page to page? And it kind of grades it. So anything that goes fast, obviously, you're keeping your interest of your customer high. Anything that goes slow, obviously, it's, if it goes too long, people are just going to get off of the website. So this is a good indicator of how well you have your site set up. And if you want a social media listener, Hootsuite is a very good one to use. From legal perspective, lots of times we want to, as a small business owner, we run across whether it be an obstacle, whether it be a question that we have about setting up our business, whether it be we're interacting with someone new and we want to have a little bit of guidance there. These two sites here may be something that you want to take a look at. The first one, AVVO, I'm positive if I pronounced what it's like AVO, it's probably mispronounced incorrectly, but so that's why I kind of spell it out versus say it. This is really good for a lawyer referral in your local area, but they do offer some free legal help. So if you type in a question there, a lawyer will respond back to you. But the more specific of a question you have, they may just direct you to a local service. But just to be able to kind of throw out a question and see if this is something that a lawyer should be a part of the discussion, this might be a great place for you to begin with. The other one, the Docracy, it does contain free legal templates for various different documents, as well as it does offer document signing online. For finance and accounting, we're talking Invoicely, which is just invoices. So if you're just starting up, let's say our lawn service, and you need to give an invoice to a new customer, get them established, and you just want the invoice to be able to print out, this might be something that you would want to have. There is no connectivity to QuickBooks, but it does give you that paper trail that you can then enter it into QuickBooks later. There are some basic accounting ones that are out there. Wave is the one that I came across, but it does not contain payroll. If you want to include payroll in your accounting package, you will have to go up to the paid level. Customer relations is a very important task, and when we call any sort of business, we'd like to be able to either speak with a person or be able to have the ability to log a trouble ticket so we can get some response back. From a customer service perspective, Fresh Desk and Live Agent are available to you. And if you're looking for a customer relation management software, Aptivo is also available. Just keep in mind when you look at the paid, the cost area, they're going to have all their little cost platforms. Scroll all the way to the bottom of that particular page, and you'll see the free version down in very small letters that you can click on to be able to start up with that program. If you're looking for some contract management software, AgriLoft is the one that you want to look at. Human resources, obviously, we have to have employees for our business. You may want to have some help with just keeping track of your employment and your job search for your employees. So this is Zoho Recruit will actually generate you some recruiting leads for people, and it will keep track of, as they move through your interview process, whether or not they are ones that you want to include in as employees. From an actual HR management, Deputy is something there. It keeps track of your employees, all their personal information, as well as what skills that they might have. But if you want to add payroll and timesheets to that, you will have to go to the next paid tier. Marketing, I've got graphic design, Canva, that is the go-to source right now. Another source is Pictochart. But each one of these areas, they have a lot of different options that you can use to be able to generate any of your marketing materials, as well as it helps with social media images that you can put on there. Photoshop, the equivalent, I mean, if you've ever priced the price for an Adobe Photoshop software bundle, it's very high. A free version of that is GIMP, G-I-M-P, or Inkscape. Both of them do the exact same thing, but they're available for immediate download. MailChimp is a great service that it can generate emails to the subscriber at free level. If you're trying to do a blanket email blast out there, this might be what you want to try to do. And then SEO tools, you have SiteLiner. It locates duplicate content, broken links on a website. Nibbler tests the website for accessibility. It also looks at your social media, that sort of thing, to make sure everything is connected. You also have Moz, which does a keyword analysis, meaning that how many hits would your site be generated from if someone just did a general Google search, would your site come up? On business management, we have Google Maps. Now, the whole thing with Google, I do want to take a moment just to talk about that, is that in all of the business blogs and business magazines that I profiled in creating this particular program for you, they did mention that and strongly recommended that you register your small business with the Google business side. Google does a preference for all of those businesses that are registered with them, and they will present those as the higher results on the results page to drive customers to your business. If you're not registered with Google, you'll be much farther down the results list. And people, if you're just scrolling through number of results, they may never get to you. So trying to get that preference of being the #1 spot on the results, consider registering yourself with Google. The other thing that they also tell you to do is to make sure that all of your info is accurate, especially on your Google Maps. And be sure to activate the link to the call function. Many people, when they look at Google, like Google Maps, they'll actually say, do you want to call this business to be able to speak with a representative, to schedule an appointment? And if that link is not available, people will then usually go on to the next result that does have that link. They want that immediacy. So consider also adding that link to your service, to your account. There, the Google My Business, that's where it gives you that SEO advantage. It does prioritize businesses with profiles. So definitely add that there. The more information that you can add, whether you have a website, whether you have this call function, have it all on there. And if you want to add an image, consider putting it there. Make it as attractive as possible to be able to drive customers' attention to your listing. Several companies may be considering Yelp. Okay. It is advantageous to have that. People do look at customer reviews, but you also do have the ability to just highlight positive reviews versus the negatives. It is free to add the business, and for a more visually appealing listing, there is a paid level, meaning that you can add a photo of some sort of, maybe even an icon or a logo on there, again, to try to draw a customer's attention to your business. But to add that, you do have to go to the paid level. Data visualization, you have Tableau Public and Business Intelligence, a Microsoft Power BI. Now, just keep in mind, with a Microsoft product, odds are you're going to have to pay to use that. So investigate carefully the cost associated with that one. Team management, you're looking at scheduling. You have a Doodle, and that is available to link calendars across platforms. There's both a free and paid level. So if you have employees that are distanced away from one another, or if you happen to be closed for the pandemic and you have all of your employees at home and you want to try to schedule roundtable meetings or sales meetings, getting a hold of their calendar at one location, that would be advantageous. Consider using Doodle, and so that way you have that visibility as to what they're working on. For a project management perspective, Wrike, W-R-I-K-E, is available. And for video conferencing, you do have Join Me, which is good for a business side that allows you a larger amount of people. And of course, Zoom is available, but if you have more than 2 people, will have to, you're limited to 40 minutes. And if you have a longer time period that you need to have, you will have to be on a paid level. All right, for document management, we have Google Drive, which is available if you with just a Google account. Your free level contains 15 gigabytes of storage. If you upgrade to the Google Workspace, you will get more storage as well as more features available to you. Decide how much you want to have as a starting point and then kind of work your way up from there. You do have Dropboxes, which will allow you to exchange files between all of your employees or customers. You would just have to share that file with them, and then they can get access to it and bring it down on their side. You can also set for edit or just view purposes. Slack is another option for you. It does allow for document and team communication inside of that platform. And Zoho Docs is all about document and file sharing. Now, say you want a mentor, say you're running into an obstacle, or you just want to bounce some ideas off of another person to see what their thoughts are. All right, SCORE has always been one that is recommended for small businesses, which has that site has a number of mentors available that you can link with. It also has a lot of small business resources as well as templates, and it does offer free classes for small business owners. So definitely check out that particular site. It has quite a bit of information for you. There also is another one called BP Plans. Check that one out for mentoring. Okay, I do also include, before I get to these other items of interest, I do have a couple other things here listed on our sheet. One is for personal growth. You always want to keep on track with the new trends that are happening. Consider looking at Coursera or edX as some options to be able to get some online training for yourself to keep yourself abreast of new changes in the business. You also have something for networking, in which you can actually touch base with other business owners in the area or in your specific specialty. One is Meetup, okay, where you can join an interest group or take an online class, or you do have that availability also inside of LinkedIn, where you can get networking and professional opportunities. All right, there's one other site that I do want to kind of put on your radar, and it's the U.S. Chamber of Commerce. Locally, you always have a Chamber of Commerce available inside of your community. However, from the overall umbrella side, the U.S. Chamber of Commerce does have a lot of information that might be advantageous for you. It has advice, it has practice tips, it has virtual events, a lot of things that are all designed to be of interest to the small business leader. So consider looking at that site because they do have a lot of good articles. They also profile a lot of companies to be able to illustrate what they found to be and work with their communities. So like, for instance, I saw one article on there where they profiled 5 companies and they said, well, what were the 3 business tools that you use to be able to run your business? And they had ones that were strictly online, but they also had other ones that were brick and mortar from, they actually had a storefront. And they talked about which programs that they actually used. And each one had a different perspective of what worked for them and why. And I like to read the why section because it's like, okay, this checked off something that was on my list of things. But didn't on this other tool. So I was able to see what worked and what didn't, and be able to say and compare it with my own of saying, would this be of use for me? So very good articles that are out there. So coming back to our PowerPoint here, there's some other things that I just want to put also on your radar. Yes, the date for this under the big week for small businesses is for last year in October. As of this taping, I have not seen what the new date is. I'm anticipating it to be somewhat similar for 2022. But it is sponsored by the U.S. Chamber of Commerce, so definitely visit that site that I've got here in the packet to get more information on it. But inside of that particular event, there were a lot of workshops, there were webinars, there were meet and greets, networking, that sort of thing available all online that you can actually register for and be able to get further information that may be of interest to your business. The other thing that I also want to bring into your attention is that there's a National Small Business Week. More information will be provided under the sba.gov website. It is scheduled to be held in September, but I do not have the specific dates as of yet. So those 2 big events there that happen more at a national level are some that you may want to consider attending just to see what information and resources that they put out free to local business leaders. So at this point, I want to say thank you for attending. If there are any questions that you have concerning small businesses, please feel free to give the library a call. If you have any questions about any of these free resources or how to use them, work through an example with you, or even be able to help you when on our patron computers here, we'll be glad to help you. Just come into the library, go to the 2nd floor, and the reference staff will be happy to help. If you do have any questions or need additional copies of these materials, please feel free to give us contact us here at the library. Our email address is librarian@leesburgflorida.gov, or you can call us at our telephone number of 352-728-9790 and press extension 3 to reach the reference desk. I look forward to seeing you in a different class. Bye for now.